Whoops. Oh, got a little schlumpy at the end there, but we'll break it down. Back pocket, clarinet trio, marked over, Vulfpeck. Before we get into it, just saying off the bat, uh, it's a lot going on. It's a lot happening really fast, um, and will take time. At least it took me. It's a lot of time. It took like I would say probably 5 to 6 weeks of like at least an hour a day cracking away at it. That said, I think it was really fun to just think about it as a project that you like do a little chunklet at a time, and put it all together. Um, and it's really satisfying to go from not being able to do a lot. Like, I remember that I couldn't play that for like probably 3 days. Could not do it. My fingers would not do it. And going from that, just like staring at my hands, cramping in pain, um, to being able to do it was really satisfying, and also kind of all the weird combinations of fingers, because you're playing three parts with two hands, at a pretty high tempo. All of that is to say it definitely improves your playing in other areas. Um, so I recommend it. Let's get into it. So we're gonna start with the first note is played by the left hand. It's just the G, and then your right hand takes it over. The three clarinets, three parts are coming in kind of staggered, and then they'll be together for the rest of the whole thing. Um, so I grab this note with my ring finger just because I want my left hand in this place for when it comes in. And then it's just you're running up the G pentatonic scale, um, just in that order, but only with your thumb and your index finger. And your thumb is getting those accented beats. Um, just like that. And when you get to this A, that's when your right hand will add in a second part, which will start. That second part that's coming in is, um, going to be, first heard in your left hand, and then your left hand passes it off to your right hand, which is pretty common throughout this piece. You've got two hands playing three parts. So if once they're all together, once all the parts are in, a lot of the time you're going to start with two of them in your left hand, one in your right hand, and then that middle part gets passed up to your right hand. So, that'll be common. So look out for that. So you get up all the way to that A, and then, so what was that? That was, this is actually one of the only times he goes out of the pentatonic scale, which I think is pretty cool. This whole thing, just using 5 notes. Except for here, he's got that F sharp in the thumb, the B in the middle finger. Your thumb is going to slide up to that G. Your ring finger is going to grab the D. That goes up to, an A and an E on your index and pinky. And then you jump your whole hand to grab that sixth interval. That's a B and a G. And then it just comes back down. So altogether, just from the top. Actually, I'll do it from everything we have so far. So starting there, and then the going up. And I like to add those embellishments wherever I can. Gives it a little more life. Kind of sounds like you're bending, like he does on the clarinet. You can't bend on a piano, but it sounds pretty close. Cool. So that's the right hand at the beginning. Let's do the left hand before I get into the timing of where it lines up. I'll just show you what it is. So you have that first note, and let's just ignore that for now and do the left hand as it is when it kind of comes in more in full, ignoring that first note. So you're starting, you're doing basically the same thing going up the pentatonic scale, but this time you're using your whole hand. So starting on the E with your pinky, going all the way up to D. When you get to D, then you jump your whole hand to a fifth. Wait, is that right? Yeah, okay, that was right. So you do up the pentatonic scale, jump fifth, parallel fifth. So that's E and B in your pinky and index, G and D in your ring finger and thumb. Again, one more time. Oh, nope, sorry, messed it up. That sounds a little weird out of context. I don't think I was accenting the notes as I should have, but putting the hands together is where it makes a bit more sense. So this E comes in in your left hand when your right hand gets to this G. And I think it's kind of hard, at least for me working on it, it was kind of hard to hear that, and I kind of just had to trust that that's when they came in together and go from there. So putting them together, remember your ring finger gets this first G, then you do that little two-fingered ascension, and then your left hand comes in once you get here on the G with your right hand. So let's do that in super slow motion. So the hard part about this is your left hand is doing a jump at the same time as your right, but they're doing different distances. So let me point out where that is. So it'll happen right there. Your left hand is jumping from having your thumb on D to your pinky on E, while your right hand is kind of just continuing that little jumpy, small jump pattern. You're doing a big one in your left hand. So that's just a matter of practicing. Yeah, so we've got, I'll do it again one more time really slowly. So, cool. Then comes that's not how it is. Shit, how is it? That's it. Okay, cool. This part took me a long time. It's really simple what he's doing. What he's doing is just running up the pentatonic scale, 5 notes, all the notes in the scale, each part starting on a different note in a G triad. So the lowest part is starting on a B, the third. The middle part is starting on the root, G. And then the top part, the melody, is starting on the fifth, D. So together that sounds like... and the fingering for that is, again, I remember this taking me a while. It's just a lot of awkward fingering. And again, is one of those moments where you've got 2 of the parts in your left hand, and then as it goes up, that middle part gets passed off to your right hand. So let's start with the right hand. Starting with your pointer on D, goes up to your middle finger, and then here's where that middle part of the trio comes in on your thumb. So make sure you're getting that G with your ring finger, not your pinky. So then that gets passed off to your pinky and pointer, and then that whole shape, you just bring up a whole step. And I give it one of those little slidey slides. Makes it sound real nice. And then in your left hand, since the right hand finishes with the two parts, that means the left hand starts with two parts. So it's starting with a B and a G on your pinky and index. Turns into D and A on your ring and thumb, and then this guy goes away to your right hand, and it's just the bottom part, which is and again the right hand together. Give yourself time with that one. That I remember being really awkward the first time I played it, and just it's a matter of, you know, putting in the time, and it's all very mechanical, and I think it's really fun once you get that down. It's like watching your hands do something they can do that they couldn't do like an hour ago is really fun. So it does that twice. And then it does let's do the left hand first for this time. It's almost entirely the same, except the last part of the melody, if you could call it that. It's the bass, but as opposed to you have and so instead of ending on that, you end on B, G. So pretty simple, at least compared to the first variation of that. The right hand, on the other hand, quite literally, is, as opposed to starting on our index finger, are we still recording? Yeah. As opposed to starting with our index finger on the D, we're going to start with our thumb. So the first time we did, and so it does that twice. And then in this new variation, you just leave your hand where it is because your thumb is already where we want it. And we're going to do, whoop, was that it? That's it. So we're running up just single notes until we get to that G, and then it's going to be a bit of a jump to get our index and pinky on G and D, and then our thumb and ring finger on E and B. A lot of parallel fifths going on in this, which I think is so cool, because they always say, like, don't do parallel fifths, it sounds bad. And then it sounds amazing in this. It's so cool how many. So yeah, and you might be noticing there's one place where there's only one note in the left hand and one note in the right hand, and that happens right here. I drop out the B, which is what the middle part is playing in the clarinet trio. I drop it out just because it makes the jump a bit easier. If you were going to play that, you would have to keep your right hand where it was in the first variation, and then jump a lot higher. I don't think it's super noticeable when you drop that part out. So that's what we would. Whoa, that's the you have an email sound. I never noticed that. So we're doing that as opposed to that, and it's so quick you don't even notice. But if you want to find a way to make sure it's exactly as it was played, go for it. So then that makes what we have, and then it does it the first variation one more time, and then we have kind of the first half of that before we go up to a little thing up here. So again, I drop out the middle note just so I can jump a bit easier, So again. And again, your right hand is starting right where we started it in that first variation with your pointer on D. So I guess you can get that middle note. Yeah, I don't see any reason not to. And that's just an E minor triad inverted going to a D major triad. Another place where he goes out of the pentatonic scale. Count him, because it doesn't happen very often. I grabbed that with my, I guess I'm doing my thumb to index in the left, and then my middle and pinky in the right. Yeah, we're still recording. Cool. So we've got, oh, and then this little fun thing. This is pretty awkward on your hands. So what's that? That each part is going up the G triad, and together, God, that was fun. That's our left hand. So we start with our pinky on B and pointer on G. Goes up to ring on D, thumb on B, and then just ends on G, because again, middle part has thence been passed off to your right hand. And then in the right hand, you're doing, nope, that's not it. That's it. So your thumb on D, that was a bit easier in your right hand there. Again, like, that took like 3 days of working on. So I know I'm going fast here, but give yourself the time with each part. Like, it was probably like multiple hours spent on each measure. So give yourself time. And again, I think it's really worth it. But yeah, so we've got right hand, left hand, and then we jump, and then this thing is so clever. So what the parts are doing individually, in the top, in the middle, in the bass, together. So remember how I said there's a lot of passing off that middle part between the left and right? You're alternating that middle part between your thumbs. So what it's going to look like in the right hand is, so your outer fingers land together on E and C, and then your ring finger alternates on that B. And then it sounds kind of dumb on its own, the left hand, but it's doing the opposite. So I guess you could call that the opposite. But we've got our middle finger on G, and then our outer fingers on E and D. And they alternate so that whenever there's one note being played in the right, there's two in the left, and vice versa. So it will sound together like so. And doing it, that's kind of tricky for me, so I kind of do a push-pull motion. So my hands are going, I mean, that's a bit exaggerated, but I'm kind of pushing my hands back and forth a little bit. That helps, as opposed to just being fingers going up and down. That was harder for me. So I guess I'm pushing a bit more when it's two notes down, and pulling when it's one note down. Yeah, enough said on that. Just checking my camera, see we're still recording. We are. Good news. Yeah, so dibba 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 bwah, 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 bwah. Um, the part as it's played just does this in unison or octaves rather. So that totally flubbed that. Um, oh, and then it ends on wait, nope. As long as you're playing that melody and ending on um, G, D, and B, should sound pretty good. The way I've been doing it, I actually added a second part in my left hand that isn't in the original. I just think it fills it out a bit more on piano, which I will show you. But obviously, feel free to do it as it does on the original. But the part I add in is so it would sound like this. And I really accent that rolling up. So again, oop, fucked it. So again, as long as you're ending on that and playing that melody in some way or another, you're golden. Okay, this next part's pretty fun. Took me quite a while, so give yourself a lot of time to work through it. Let me just play it hands together. One more time. Okay, so breaking it down hand by hand. Let's start with the right. Is that right? Nope, that wasn't right. Okay, so we're starting with two parts in the right hand, one part in the left. It starts with a G and D. Make sure you're doing your thumb in your middle. Goes up to B and E with your pointer and ring. And then your pinky and your middle get this D and G. So, and then we do a jump all the way up to get that fifth in our pointer and pinky. So that is, I think you lift up that D when you get to the G. So it starts off with this D and B flat, and your middle finger slides down, and then you land on G. So grab this sixth interval, thumb and ring, jump down to get a seventh, so B and an A with your outside fingers. So is that right? Yep, that is right. Okay, yeah, this last one's a little I kind of schlumped my way around it to do some to make it easier but still sound at least as close to the original as I could. So we've got get that sixth, and then you're gonna jump and do parallel fifths from the A to E to G to D. These two fingers, then these. So that little thing I did, so it's dun, 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 dun. So the line is dun, dun, da, da, da. But doing that B twice in a row in quick succession was tricky for me. If you can do it and make it sound fluid, go for it. The little tricky thing I did, sneaky thing I did, was since you're landing with that B, with that finger on B, and you have to do it again, if you can do that, do it. But what I did is I hit it once, hold it, and then lightly tap the A below it with my index finger. And that when you're doing it this slowly, it doesn't sound as good. But when you do it up to speed, it sounds like you're doing that as opposed to that slowly. It sounds like you're hitting the B and then rolling into it. Whoop. There it is. Yeah, but if you can do it in quick succession, go for it. I think the reason I did it is because you're doing something else kind of tricky in your left hand at the same time, and I found this easier. Work smarter, not harder, as they say. Okay, so that's the right hand. I'll play it again one more time, slowly. Nope, what is it? Yep, here we go. God, what is it? There we go. Sorry. Thank you for being patient while I confuse myself. Nope. There it is. One more time. All right. Left hand. One more time. And actually, well, I'll just break it down. So that's going up, B, D, E, B. So all single notes except for this last D and B you land on with, make sure you're doing it with your ring and your thumb, not your pinky and your thumb. So the second kind of those three runs, or whatever you call them, has a jump from, catch that G with your pointer, you jump down to the E with your thumb. Again, all single notes except for the last interval. Which is G and E. That one really threw me off for a while because the interval that happens, the two lines that happen together are the second to last note. So we've got and I think sometimes when I play that at full speed, since you're going from this with your thumb on E to another E, to get your thumb up and back fast enough at full speed can be tricky. Sometimes I'll grab the second E with my index finger, so it would look like this. And then that means you do have to land two index fingers in a row, but that's fine. Whichever's easier. I actually think doing it with your thumb twice might be easier, but whatever works for you. So putting those together is pretty hard, honestly. So just slow it down. I'll do it slowly. That's the hardest one for me. I'll do that super slow so you can see what lines up with what. Also, the reason this is, I'm kind of dropping the bottom part. I think where that goes like that, I think the bottom part does end on an E. Again, one of those things where it's happening so fast that it's both hard to do and easy enough to drop it without it being super noticeable. And it kind of trails off at the end of that line anyways. So again, that's one of those places where I just dropped a note and hope no one notices. So again, hands together. Again, that last line. And again, give yourself time doing that because these are some weird combination of fingers that I've never done before, and took a while, but feels really good once you get it. So stay with it. Cool. We're still rolling on my low battery. So the home stretch. We've just done that crazy run line, and then we get a nice break from the craziness with probably the easiest little phrase in the whole thing, which is this. So your right hand, pinky on B, C and A, and then in your left hand, just G, E. And then you, to make it sound real good, you just roll into it. So, oops. And then things get very weird and chromatic. I think I got it pretty close to how he does it on the record. I definitely dropped down to 2 parts for probably most of now to the rest of the whole thing, with the exception of like the very key accented hits. So it kind of sounds like, yeah, I've been doing 3 parts the whole time, but it's just down to 2, sometimes 1. But again, it goes so fast you can't really tell. And again, if you can figure out a way to do more parts, all the parts at once, let me know, because I'd like to know how to do that. Anyway, so we come out of and then we get this weird little line. Play that again. So just the right hand, and I'm gonna put my left thumb there because that little melody, the right hand drops out entirely for that one note, and gets caught there. So I'll just play it with my left hand, just so you can see the fingering. So we got in the right hand. Nope, that's not it. Sorry. I guess the right hand is all one line at once. Okay. So that's the melody. As long as you're starting with your middle on E, and then catching C with your pointer, and then doing a crossover to A, and again, your left hand will catch that A flat. That's the fingering. Cool. Left hand. One more time. So you're starting with your middle on D. Sorry. Yeah, you are starting with your middle on D, but the melody starts on B. So the places where 2 notes happen are here and there. So both with your outer fingers. And again, with both hands. Oh, I guess I do get, yeah, so that's one of the places where I get back to 3 notes, because it's accented, and I think it kind of fools the ear to making it seem fuller all the way through. And then we get to the crazy fast, that thing. And coming out of, oh, I just do a, just a D and F sharp. You can probably add like a harmony to that. I've kind of just habitually been doing one note at a time. I'm not really sure why. But yeah, so coming out of that, you'll play that little line. So again, for those guys, we're using the same sort of technique we did at the let me see if where you're basically playing 3 trills, but in 2 hands. So you're doing 2 notes in a hand down to 1, and 1 note up to 2, and turning them off. I think it's easier at this part at the end of the song with these shapes. So the first one is just a D triad, and it starts. Your left hand for these is going to start at 1 note, so the 3rd in the triads, and then go out to the 5th. While your right hand is going to do the opposite. Start with 2 notes, the outer 2, and go to the middle 3rd thing. So you've got a D triad in your left, and you've got a D7 minus the D, so you got a C, an F sharp, and an A. Again, one of the few places where we hear anything outside of the pentatonic. So again, way to go, marked over. So it does that twice, and then has a little buffer in between it, and does it twice again. So oh, I messed up that C part. But so we've got, and then down to the C1, which I believe is it's the same pattern. You're for your left hand, you're just moving it down, and I believe in our right hand we're doing like an E minor. So we're basically doing a C major 7. Sounds real nice. But maybe it might be the C. I'm hearing a major 7. So we've got, the melodies doing top line, middle line, and bottom line. I think the sheet music for this is out there if you want to consult it, and that would probably have the answer for you, but I'm hearing it as a major 7. So we've got, and then up a 3rd, so an E minor triad, and I guess so these are all 7th chords. So we've got a D7, C major 7, E minor 7. And the timing of that, God, what is the timing of this? I'm not really sure, to be honest. We got, oh, I forgot to mention, that's a triplet. Triplet. Is my camera still recording? Sweet. I might have to cut it because it's at low battery. And then we're getting into some really weird chromatic lines. Again, I dropped down to one part here, and it's happening fast enough where it's kind of fine, I guess. That's the line. Oop. So you're going D, E flat, F, back down. And I'm doing a crossover with my pointer, and then I'll show you the left hand. Well, actually, no, I'm not doing a left hand for that, but I figured out if you are doing a left hand, I think one of the parts is just descending chromatically from C, starting when in your right hand you get to E flat, so together it would sound like, God, I'm just noticing how lazy I've been getting when playing this. It's a little embarrassing, so thank you for sticking with. But if you want to do them together. And then our last line of the song. One more time. Whoops. So right hand, well, it starts with only the left hand. But once the right hand comes in, it's going to be. Whoops. Sorry. See if I can get it this time. There it is. So just going up the G pentatonic scale. Should know it well by now. I'm sliding over that B flat into A. And then G, and then, whoops, sliding into that D and B. If you're gonna slide anywhere, make sure it's there, because that's where it sounds, I think, closest to the original arrangement. Left hand. Let's see if I can do this before my camera dies. Oops. Oh, sorry, I totally lied. In the right hand, when you get to that B in your pinky, you're gonna snag that D with your thumb. Actually, in that entire line, whenever you're playing a B in your pinky, you're playing a D in your thumb. So starts as a sixth, a D, and a B. Oops. Sorry. Oops. Yeah, there it is. So again, dropping out for a second, just having a melody in the top line. I'm forgetting why I decided to do it this way other than ease, but oops. The left hand comes back on a B when in the right hand you're on G, and then you get this nice parallel sixth action. Whoops. Crossover with your index onto C, and then remember this right hand takes it over for a second, so that melody will really be played. Oops. So thumb of your left hand, index of your left hand, thumb of your right hand. Then you come back down. So remember that slide. A in your left hand. And then the last two notes, or notes on the last two beats, is going to be in your left hand. So that's D and B, G, and then as I think I showed you, G, slide into D and B. Did we make it? Yes, my camera's just about to die. We did it. Let me just play that real quick. So we're coming out of. Oop. Oop, fuck, I fucked it. That last part. I think where I'm getting thrown off is you got to make sure they come back together on that interval. So it's going to be a B on your left and a G on your right. I'm doing the thing I just said not to do. So that's what I'm tempted. That's what it feels like you should do, but it's so we got I think I got it one last time. Oh, fucking shit. Do as I say, not as I do. Well, that's what's throwing me off. So I keep wanting to do, but it's. Cool. That is the whole thing. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening, and good luck. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. If you have if you make any innovations, bump up those parts where I drop down to 2 or 1 line at a time. If you can figure out a way where your hands can get all 3 of them going at once, please let me know. Yeah.